all around. Either way, we are ready, Nate. We are ready to hop into the second match of the round of 16, and this PvP is going to be awesome.
Yes, it is. We're loading at Dusk Towers. In the bottom left position, we have the red Protoss player. He's Petit Drogo.
Of course, still the reigning DreamHack champion. Had a phenomenal run at Leipzig back then. But is he going to be able to defeat this man one more time? Last time it did end 3-2 in favor of Drogo, but this time this man wants to turn it around. He's representing Ting. It is NeeB. The North American hope, and pretty much, Nate, your favorite player at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
Which is bizarre, because we all know how much you love Terran.
Yeah. It's funny, my favorite player is actually pretty much just about Ben.
What, is he going to steal both
Protosses.
gases? Oh no, he stole one already. For a second I was like, is he going to steal both here? I really think if you steal both gas, it's kind of easy to follow it up with some sort of crazy cheese because, you know, your opponent just doesn't really have an answer to it. Fun opening already. I think that Drogo spoke about this, and he likes stealing gases. NeeB mentioned this to me as well. He's like, yeah, for some reason he always steals my gas. Drogo spoke to me about this build as well.
Okay, so break it down. He walled himself out of his main base. He has no natural expansion. And he stole one gas, presumably to delay some sort of tech. Is that maybe to delay a robo? Is he going to do some sort of crazy cheese out of this?
Well, the funny thing is he spoke to me about it, but I forgot. Oh, yes, now I know what he's going to do. He's just going to throw a Nexus behind this, and he's going to go double Stargate, just blind double Stargate, and he's going to make a ridiculous amount of Phoenixes. Obviously, if you delay the gas of your opponent, he won't have a whole lot of anti-air. You have a couple Stalkers here and there, but you won't have Blink Stalkers, and good luck trying to keep your probes alive. So even though the Nexus is going to be a little bit later for Drogo, I still think he's going to drop a Nexus. Well, it's his first target already. I still think he's going to drop a Nexus, though, because he doesn't have anything else out on the map, correct? He doesn't have a probe out on the map?
Yeah, I think the probe is still... What? Okay.
Oh, so he's going to go Stargate, and then he's going to Pylon Rush as well with his Mothership Core. This is pretty bizarre, Nate.
Okay, 4 pylons in your opponent's mineral line. I don't know, Kev.
I mean, he's going to be able to drop at least one photon overcharge. He will be able to get a couple of probes. Obviously, if you're NeeB, you want to evacuate your probes immediately. This is a big investment, though. This is a massive investment.
Pylon on pylon action going down here as that Mothership Core is still quite a ways away. Yeah, 2 Stalkers about to pop for NeeB, too.
He'll get at least one photon overcharge off, but that's about it. I'm not sure if this was worth it for Drogo. I mean, the Oracle is going to be the follow-up. Obviously, there is no energy anymore for photon overcharge, so there is a good chance this Oracle will do some work, but...
Just a very strange start to this game coming out of here. The Stalker is getting to work on the Assimilator. There's enough energy for a second overcharge from that Mothership Core as the Stalkers poke forward onto it. Pylon unpowers Warp Gate, so Warp Gate research is now going to be slowed.
Yep. I think that other pylon is probably in range of this as well, but you don't want to photon overcharge that one because it's too low on HP. Now, the Oracle is the one thing that NeeB truly has to worry about. Let's take a look at the Mothership Core of NeeB. How much energy does he have? Well, NeeB doesn't have anywhere near enough energy. So this Oracle is definitely going to be able to do quite a bit of work. Drogo will expand finally. I guess this was worth it in the end, Nate.
Yeah, very interesting start to this game. I haven't seen too much of this myself personally. I'm a little bit caught off guard by this. Oracle is going to swing in. There's the single pylon. 2-3 probes go down. Overcharge is triggered, but almost getting another probe there at the same time. Up to 4 now.
Yeah, that's very solid, though. 4, maybe 5. Look at all these low HP probes, by the way. But the Oracle is still alive. That's the most important thing. This Oracle can always come back, swing in again.
He's got enough energy once this overcharge ends. He can actually go back in and get back onto the probes. So pushing them away even further, up to 7 kills now as the Stalkers come up. And NeeB finds himself down a probe. The Nexus is just about to finish for Petit Drogo.
Yep. Drogo's going to follow this up with a Robo, by the way, so it's just a single Stargate this time, and he's just going to play a normal macro game. He's probably very happy with the amount of damage that he's done. He's only up a Worker. It feels like he's up more than that, though, but it's not. Now he's going to make a Void Ray as well. This game is crazy, Nate. Like, these two players are obviously going to mind game each other a lot throughout this series. This is what NeeB told me as well. He's like, I know what he likes to do. He knows what I like to do, but he also knows that I know what he likes to do. He's like, so it's going to be very weird. There's going to be a whole lot of mind games, and I think it's safe to say that we already see that here in game number 1 because this does not look like my average PvP, Nate.
Nah, man. I mean, he's got those 2 Oracles still alive, which is so crucial for being able to get in, pick off a few probes here and there, but most importantly, punish any misposition, punish any mistakes that NeeB makes as far as where he puts his pylons, where he keeps his Stalkers, where he keeps his Mothership Core, and that's going to make it also hard, I feel, to extend out and grab that 3rd base at the same time.
Yeah, pretty bizarre game so far. Drogo is up 3 workers though, so I guess he's pretty happy and satisfied with how all of this went. Blink just now starting, that's pretty damn late. 5 minutes and 30 seconds into the game. There are PvPs where you already go up to 3 bases over here. Oracle somehow, some way survives as well. I guess NeeB does want to go up to 3 bases in the near future, and wouldn't be surprised to see Drogo make a 2-base timing attack. Even if he warps in a third Nexus, don't get fooled by that. Just because they warp in a third Nexus doesn't mean they will actually use it.
We saw Hawk take expansions yesterday against NeeB where he didn't build a single worker for it, just basically was going all in off of the, you know, hoping that your opponent thought you were being economic.
I mean, Flow is showing this to us as well right now. It's Void Rays and Immortals. I mean, if there is one thing that's pretty damn good against Blink Stalkers, if you can force them to stay in one location, it's Void Rays and Immortals, right? You can just run across the map, try to apply some pressure, and obviously as long as Drogo kills NeeB or kills his third base, if he already has his third base, he can always use it. Like, it's transitional, you know. Eventually you can send the probes there and can still mine from it.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much resources you have left in your main base by the time an attack like this would finish in your 9 minutes. The Oracles are going to swing back in towards the right side. Also important to keep in mind that even if they can't get too much more worker damage done, the stasis board is always an option. Very powerful. Already setting one up, and you know, you rally your probes. A lot of people click that middle mineral patch. 10 or 9 probes go down there, get stuck, boom, locked out of being able to do anything for 20 seconds.
Templar Arca is being wiped in right now for NeeB, so he's going to be able to get access to Archons very quickly, which is really important, because if Drogo would decide to attack him, which I really think he will because he's got so many sentries, having a couple of Archons is useful, A, to break the force fields, and B, they actually do well against the Void Rays, and Stalkers do not. Stalkers really need to pretty much one-shot Void Rays, but if you click on Void Rays, when there are Immortals below it as well, all your Stalkers, they will disappear very, very quickly.
Yeah, I guess it's so strange that he's continuing to just crunch out all of these Void Rays with 5 gateways on the way. I'm guessing, is this where he's going to make his play as the Warp Prism finishes and he moves out?
Yeah, I kind of think so. I mean, he has a decent amount of workers. He's up 7 workers, actually. There we do see that stasis being triggered. NeeB afraid there a little bit. You get an alert. You're like, we're under attack. You're like, what? And it's like, okay, it was just a stasis wipe.
Yeah, just a few probes.
Yeah, I think you're spot on, Nate. I mean, this is an intimidating army. Like, how are Blink Stalkers supposed to buy time against this army? Every single time a Stalker gets in range, it gets one-shotted by these Void Rays, by these Immortals. This looks like a terrifying attack by Drogo, and I think it's going to be a very, very difficult hold for NeeB. He needs more pylon. Well, he's got 2. I guess that's decent.
Yeah, but like you said, those same units that can kill the Stalkers quickly will also destroy the pylons very quickly. The Immortals have that firepower. The sentry count is crazy high, so an incredible amount of Guardian Shields will be available, Force Fields at the same time. There's a Revelation going down. Blink's forward, need to be really careful. Without that Blink on cooldown, if he gets Force Fielded here, could lose a lot of these Stalkers. The Void Rays are going to push up. Guardian Shield is triggered. There's the Photon Overcharge coming out as well. The Archons can be used to shadow those Force Fields. They're going to step forward now. First Void Ray gets picked off. Moving forward with the rest of these, the Stalkers are not eating most of this damage.
This actually looks like a pretty damn good hold so far by NeeB, am I right? Like, look at these Archons.
The Archons ate so many of those Immortal shots, and they do not take bonus damage from any of those units. A Stasis War grabs a few of the Zealots, but that is not going to be enough to stop NeeB from pushing down this rip with 2 of his own Immortals and those Archons and his Blink Stalkers. And there's no Blink here for PT Drogo as far as I'm aware, so he can't even run away.
And a couple of Zealots in the mix as well. GG, phenomenal hold there by NeeB on Dust Towers. Wow.
One will make you a plushie,
I
Phoenix,
know,
Kev.
it's ridiculous.
It's a tragedy.
Yes. It's sad. My Protoss heart is bleeding.
I just want them to make a Disruptor Purification Nova dodgeball, you know? You just go actually play a real game with it. That'd be the best. No real explosions, please, though. All right, we're loaded in for game number 2 on Invader. In the bottom right, we have the red Protoss player currently down 0-1 after that Void Ray attack. He is Petit Drogo from Team My Insanity.
He's been with My Insanity for a very long time already. And a lot of people thought maybe he's going to join Millennium, but he seems to be very happy and satisfied with them. Over here on the left bottom side of Invader, we're looking at the man who recently joined Ting. Give it up for NeeB. The new North American hope, Nate. The crowd is feeling it as well. They're getting behind him.
Feels good, man. You know, that's another thing I hope for in this tournament. Even if NeeB is not the guy to go all the way, if you're an American StarCraft fan, you know, it's just good that you get to see this guy. You know, he's super, super nice, very, very cool guy. Been able to hang out with him a bit. He's someone that I'm glad to have playing StarCraft at such a high level.
You know what my dream final would be, Nate? NeeB versus Ruff.
That's 2 NA for me.
No,
we don't want to go full NA, Roddy.
We do want to go full NA. That's the thing. That would be beautiful over here in Austin. All right, so we got interesting spawning locations. It's a very unique map, Invader, for the people who haven't played it a whole lot. So you can spawn vertical or you can spawn horizontal, but for some weird reason you can spawn cross, which never really made a whole lot.
I think it was basically based around the incredibly long rush distance, which I don't think is as much of a factor now because the bridges got removed from this map. So I think the horizontal spawn is actually the longest rush.
Yeah,
now.
I know. I think it's pretty. It makes it a large map like this.
Yep.
If
but the air distance is pretty short too, though.
But I mean, if you open up double gate, most of the time we'll see both Protoses open up with adepts over here. No, actually, it's going to be Stalkers on Drogo's side and 1 Stalker for NeeB, and I guess then a 2nd Stalker as well. Which is funny, because we saw Hawk open up with the Adepts here, and I think that NeeB went Adepts on this map as well in his round of 32 match. And I kind of like Adepts here, but Adepts are a lot better vertical than they are horizontal.
I think the biggest thing as well, like when I think about this map then, was also we did see Stargate play out of NeeB too, and that was a big part of his success, using the stasis board to trap half of Hawk's army, well more than half I would say, to take that big fight right before securing victory. But is there a reason why...
Are they floating over Mothership course in the middle? Is that what's happening?
Maybe. Yeah, that's actually really good scouting-wise. They can't attack each other, of course, so... Send it across, see what's there. Pylon is going outside the 3rd/4th area, outside of NeeB's base for Petit Drogo.
Yeah, so NeeB is getting a small scout here. Even when you see nothing, you see quite a bit in PvP. If I see my opponent has 2 Stalkers, that already tells me quite a bit. It's like, all right, this is a double gate opening over here. You open up with 2 Stalkers, no Adepts. All right, that's something, you know. It may not be the tech that you're looking for, but at least you're aware of the opening. You know that a Nexus is not possible yet, etc.
Yeah, I mean, the Nexus is going to go up first here for NeeB. Robotics Facility is going to be his tech of choice, not going into the Stargate. So... I mean, are we going to see War Prism play here? Do you think that's the ideal move? Or with the faster Nexus, maybe he just wants Immortals to play safe since there's no expansion from Drogo?
I mean, obviously, this is a large map. You always have to worry about proxies. It could be a proxy Twilight. It could be a proxy Dark Shrine. So going for a Robotics Facility makes perfect sense. Immortals will keep you safe against Stalkers and any other pressure. And obviously, you want to have access to Observers as well.
Yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable. I mean, he is going to be attacked very soon. A 2nd pylon put up here by this gateway as Warp Gate is completing for Drogo, and he begins to warp in. NeeB runs the Stalker. He sees this. He knows what's coming his way now. He's going to pull the Stalker back. Now he needs everything to defend this push.
And now he can just make an Immortal. He doesn't have to make an Observer. He doesn't have to worry about Dark Templars or anything like that, because he is like, all right, my opponent's got quite a few Stalkers. All I need right now is to get an Immortal out. And as soon as you have 1 Immortal, it's awesome. If you have 2 Immortals, this is over. I mean, a push like this is not going to work anymore.
Yeah, it's just pretty much about a straight up 3 gateway, 3-4 gateway attack, no Robotics Facility behind it, no Stargate, no Twilight, nothing.
Drogo's getting 1 Adept. I think Drogo got 1 Adept.
I like that he's throwing this Adept shade out just to keep tabs on where that army goes. If he were to have picked something up in a Warp Prism or run it to the rocks on the right side, he would know. And comes up, picks off one of the Stalkers. Good force field, manages to grab 1 or maybe 2 on his
the other
own.
one is stuck as well, so now the Stalkers come in. Photon Overcharge would be nice over here. You should really get that 1 Stalker, because somehow it got trapped.
The terrain. Baited by the terrain. At the same time, Mothership Core does get into the main base of NeeB, so 2 probes been picked up so far. A couple of the Stalkers have to be warped in here too.
Yeah, and 4 Adepts being warped in for Drogo. So this is that moment where he's going to shade those Adepts probably into the main and then try to find something over here with the Stalkers. But I really think that NeeB has more than enough units. He could cancel them as well.
He disabled the autocast on his barrier as well. The Stalkers tried to poke and trigger, and he was not able to do that. So the probes come in, Photon Overcharge, picks off the Adepts inside of the main base. Good number of probes killed, though, as you mentioned, Kev, but he's on 2 bases.
Yeah, that's not enough, man. Like, I mean, obviously killing 8 probes is awesome, but he also lost 4 Adepts. That cost pretty much the exact same. And at the same time, Drogo's still only working with 1 Nexus, so that may have looked good, but that's not really all that good at all.
Yeah, now the Immortal is going to get caught here. Good. It's picked off. And if these Adepts come out towards the side, they grab 1 of the sentries and get the Adept as well. Yep, just about. So Nexus starts up for Drogo back home. He's ahead 2 probes, but NeeB has the ability to make 2 at a time once he realizes that he doesn't need to invest everything into defense.
Yep, and these Adepts are going to help out quite a bit, because he's going to see this army. He's like, oh, you're not really adding any more units, just 1 sentry. Cool, I can actually go back to building probes. Drogo's going to make 1 Stargate. I wouldn't be super shocked, Nate, if he goes double Stargate. He doesn't really have the money for it right now, but I think that would be an excellent way to crawl back your way into this game, because if you do the exact same thing as your opponent right now, but you do it of 1 Nexus, how are you supposed to win?
Yeah, I completely agree. You're basically just playing the same game, but from behind.
Yeah.
And obviously, NeeB is not the kind of guy that's just going to allow that to spiral out of control. Keep in mind, he also can pick off a gateway here now, 2 pylons, possibly supply block Drogo, or at least slow down his recovery from this early game commitment that didn't really get what he wanted from it.
No, and sometimes it's hard to read into though, if you're playing. Like, we just look at this replay, right? We have access to all the numbers. It's very easy for us to analyze the state of the game and say, man, NeeB, you did a phenomenal job in defending your expand there. You lost a couple probes here and there, but no big deal. You're in a great spot. If you're Drogo right now, maybe he sort of thinks like, this wasn't all that bad. Like, I got an Immortal, I got a couple probes here and there. Like, maybe this is playable, but if he would watch the replay, he's like, okay, this is actually not playable. I need to do something pretty bizarre here. But as a player, no matter how good you are, there will always be moments where it's a little bit of a guessing game where you may think you know which spot you are, but you cannot be 100% certain.
I think this is really important. 2 Stalkers in the mineral line. Mothership Core is very close to that main nexus. Oracle has come out. A second one is on the way. So Drogo is looking to get a bit of a backstab going here with this setup. Actually cancels the second Oracle, goes into Void Ray as this Warp Prism arrives in his main base.
Yeah, well, the Mothership Core was in the right position for Drogo. Is the Mothership Core in the right position for NeeB? Well, at least these Stalkers are, Nate, as you mentioned. I like the idea of a little bit of a depth harass, though, because NeeB knows that he's in a position where he could even take a small risk. If he ends up losing a couple units, no big deal. If he kills a few more probes, he is just, you know, getting further and further ahead in this match.
Yep, that Oracle did pick off the probe that tried to start the 3rd Nexus, so not able to take that next expansion. Warp Prism is going to shuttle these Adepts over towards the right side. I mean, is this worth trying to run past and snipe probes, or what do you think?
I would not mind it at all. I'm not sure if he's going to do it, though, but I would kind of like it. I think if you get 5 probes over here, it's completely worth it, because your opponent, he has been behind. You're going up to 3 bases, he's only 2. And Adepts, they're not horrible.
Oh, nice force fields, though. Maybe being able to grab these. I guess the sentry and both Adepts. No, okay, one of them does make it back.
Oh, that's so annoying for Drogo.
The probes have to chase. Don't tase me, bro. So Oracle's going to come back around towards the 3rd base, and now it seems okay. You did actually want to start a 3rd base. Nexus is spotted. Immortals are in production for both players. And once again, Drogo is continuously building Void Rays, Roddy.
Yeah, he's going to go for another timing attack. It's probably going to wipe in a few more sentries, as he just lost one of these sentries, and he's going to try to catch the army of NeeB off guard. He doesn't want to go up to 3 bases now and just build probes forever. I think he really wants to hit it. Well, he does go up to 3 bases, but I still think he's going to go for a timing attack.
Just like in the last game. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
In the last game, he made quite a few probes, a few more than I expected. This game, he's only on 46, and we don't see any probes on the production tab. So I think that Drogo's pretty serious about making a very big attack. But look at his army of NeeB. It looks pretty terrifying now.
Yeah. Consider that Blink is now finishing as well, which will give him a lot of utility with this army, just like he had in the last game. I think the only thing that's missing from this equation then is the Templar Archives, and it's just now begun. So assuming that this attack doesn't hit super quickly, he's not able to get a really good position on him, we should also have Archons on the playing field, which help tremendously against forces like this.
Yeah, it's very rough right now, because if Drogo makes an attack, looking at the numbers, I don't really think it's going to work, but at the same time, well, he just made 5 sentries, so he's definitely gearing up for an attack. You do not make 5 sentries to just sit back for the rest of the game and let your opponent go up to 200 supply. But it's going to be hard. Then again, Invader is a map with a lot of ramps, so maybe he can somehow find himself in a good position, be on top of a ramp somewhere. Vision is everything for NeeB. As long as NeeB keeps track of the army of Drogo, I think he's going to be in a completely fine position to deal with this attack.
And there's those Archons warping in outside back towards NeeB's base, so he has the full fledged force that he was looking to get in the last game to defend that attack. The Oracle just got picked off as well in that 3rd mineral line. He has a cannon to defend and help lock it down. And Drogo's is going to go to a Robo Bay. I think he recognizes what you pointed out, Kev. He cannot defeat NeeB if he tries to force an attack up a ramp onto that 3rd.
Yeah, double Robo Bay. I do like it. I mean, Disruptors is an excellent way to get you to claw back into a PvP. It's pretty much the ultimate comeback unit ever. Obviously, I think if NeeB identifies this, then NeeB might just be the one who's like, all right, well, then I'm going to attack you. I'm not going to allow you to get up to 4 or 5 Disruptors. That makes absolutely 0 sense. I've got more army, I've had more probes throughout the entire game. I've got more upgrades than you, because the Forge is not even done yet for Drogo. Drogo's is kind of like lurking around right now in the middle of the map. He's trying to give NeeB the idea he wants to go for an attack, but actually he wants to go up to Disruptors.
Yeah, it's interesting to note that like this is a good army against what he was up against before, but always known NeeB to be that guy that likes the Disruptors himself. Maybe not 100% aware of what's going on just yet. Warp Prism does get swatted down, so if he wants to make a play, his reinforcements are going to be a little bit perhaps more delay than he was hoping for.
Yeah, the first two disruptors are on the production tab right now for Drogo. He starts his +1 upgrade too. Charge is about to finish up for NeeB. Losing that prism, I think that stings a little bit. Is that the only war prism that NeeB had? It's very hard to attack.
I saw. Oh, he's got another one.
Okay, he's got another one. He should just go for it. I mean, both armies are meeting each other. Drogo does not want to fight here. I really do not believe that Drogo wants to fight here.
That's such a scary army. Yeah. You know, you think about it supply-wise, it's like, yeah, NeeB's got a lead. A lot of Drogo's supply is also sentries, which not really known for their immense power in PvP, but let alone Legacy of the Void.
Only in the first week of Wings of Liberty beta they were known for that.
You're just like, what was it? You get 5 sentries, you just force field the main ramp, force field the main ramp. Am I ready to try to move down the ramp? No, force.
Those were great aims. Here is that first disruptor though. It's gonna get well, connected with 2 Archons,
clips
I believe.
The shields off of 2 Archons. Yeah. It's still quite a bit of damage.
I like those pylons there. It makes it a lot harder for NeeB to commit to an attack. I mean, NeeB also knows the longer he waits, the harder it gets. Like
more disruptors, the worse. Yeah, for
Fighting
sure.
in 2 disruptors is rough, but you can definitely do it. Fighting against 4 or 5, that's where it becomes very tricky.
Moves in a large section of his units from the south side. That disruptor shot hits a single immortal as the War Prism continues to add more units in. Second disruptor shot just gets 3 stalkers. This army continues to push forward. Void Rays are being picked off by the stalkers. At the same time, there's still 4 Archons fighting here for NeeB. Another disruptor came out from the south side and actually just rallied into the army. Didn't fire off. NeeB takes it. GG 2-0 lead.
Beautiful engagement there with a lot of units. Yeah, a lot of units coming from the north side, a couple of units coming from the west side there as well via that zone over the last few months as a player. In DreamHack Leipzig, it was a close series, but Drogo was able to win it 3-2. So far, Nate, it's all NeeB.
Yeah, this is the map where he has to turn everything around, win 3 games in a row to keep his dreams alive. In the bottom right, the former DreamHack champion, he is Petit Drogo.
And on the top side of Brian Terraces, we're looking at the main base of our Blue Protoss. He's representing Ting. Give it up for NeeB.
Definitely showing up in this tournament. Really nice to see that he doesn't seem to be making any of those callous errors where it's something that you could say, oh, well, you know, nervous mistakes. You know, he didn't just start 2 cybernetics cores randomly or anything like that. And we saw that actually have an impact on players recently in the stages. You know, think back, just, you know, Huck got +1 ship weapons in his game against NeeB yesterday without building a Stargate. It happens.
We saw TY make 2 factories.
2 factories,
in the biggest game of his career.
That is when you know a Terran is not in a good place. If you ever build more than 1 factory, you have seriously goofed. Unless you're, I guess maybe if you're Bomber, it's TVT, you know.
Make some Blue Flame Hellions.
Yeah.
Back in the days.
Yeah. If you're Slayer's Boxer, yeah, if we go back in time, yes, 2 factories is actually pretty normal.
All right, so it's a double gate opening once again. A relatively late scout. Did Drogo even scout at all? No, right? No, 0 scouts for Drogo?
Not,
very late. So both players like to scout late here. That's interesting.
Yeah, I guess I would ask you then, since you obviously play a lot of PvP, you watch good players. We talked about how these guys know a lot about the way each other plays before this match. Do you feel like we've seen that in this series?
Yeah,
that we've seen some stuff that maybe normally wouldn't be in a game where 2 strangers go up against each other?
I mean, I think game number 1 was very weird of Drogo, you know, with the gas steel and the full wall of and the
4 pylons.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And I mean, I think overall Drogo's style is a little bit different than what we see from a lot of other players. I mean, for a while it was all disruptors, but those days have gone indeed. There are still some Protoss players who just love to get up to disruptors and will grab any opportunity they possibly can to get up to those disruptors. But you just don't see it that often anymore at the highest level of play.
What happened? Did everyone just get too good at killing each other before they could get disruptors?
Yep, exactly. They just hit fine timings with Immortals, with Sentries. This is a very fun scenario, by the way, Nate. I love it. A double Adept against a double Stalker. This is pretty good for NeeB. NeeB didn't just blindly shade forward the second time. He takes quite a bit of damage on this Adept, but I still believe that if he wants to commit with these Adepts, he should be able to get at least 3 or 4 kills.
Yeah, those Stalkers have to run all the way back. He has 2 more that are just about to finish. No Nexus on the way, so makes this choice. Now, is he going to take that expansion immediately? He's got his Stargate finishing up, and 2 sentries get started for Drogo as he does take his expand.
Yeah, Drogo does still have that probe on the top side, or what happened to the probe of Drogo? Does he know that NeeB doesn't have an expand yet?
She do not.
Oh, no, he doesn't know. Okay.
So gotten picked off by the Adepts.
This is so far, this is pretty excellent though by Drogo. He's going to be able to pick off both Adepts, I think. No, 1 Adept does get out there with 8 HP, but not losing a single worker, so having a Stalker advantage and just picking off an Adept, and the second Adept is almost dead. This is a pretty good start by Drogo. This is very, very solid so far.
Yep, that Oracle is about to pop, and NeeB you kind of almost need this one to do damage, right?
Yeah.
Considering that his Adepts didn't do anything, he can't really afford to just fiddle around with this Oracle. He needs to go in, he needs to go ham.
Yep, I wouldn't say like it's game ending if he doesn't kill 5 probes over here, but you're spot on, Nate. If you open up with 2 Adepts, you definitely always hope to do something. If not, you at least want to keep them alive and have a quicker expand, but none of those things happened. The expand was a tiny bit later. 1 Adept did get picked off, didn't really kill anything, so with this Oracle, normally you definitely hope for 3-4 kills. It's going to be very rough though. Excellent pylon placement. Double Photon Overcharge does not get the kill though.
Yeah, pulled the trigger pretty fast on those. It's a Revelation that's used instead, and that might actually give him vision to spot the Twilight Council that was just started. I think he can see it, yeah. So based off the Revelation from the other units, that's actually very, very useful. First Oracle, still not getting damage done, but at least he knows what's going on. He is aware of the state of the game.
Yeah, and it's not too bad. If we look at the worker count, it's 30 probes for NeeB, 31 for Drogo, and actually triggering 2 Photon Overcharge, that allows this Oracle to swing in again. Actually activated Pulsar Beam for a couple of seconds there, but did not get a kill.
Yeah, so Twilight Council's wrapping up. It's much more similar sort of setup, I guess, that we're seeing this game compared to the previous ones where we had that bit of flip-flopping. Doesn't look like we're going to see Void Rays constantly produced here by our Protoss, our red Protoss at least.
Wow, Drogo going up to 3 bases very quickly here. I mean, once again, think back of Dust Towers, right? Where we were 5 minutes and 35 seconds in and both players had like 29 workers. Over here, we already see Drogo going up to 3 bases at 5 minutes and 20 seconds. So that's a very, very different ballgame.
Yep, just constant Immortal production. Blink is very close for both of them. And I guess if you're NeeB, it's time to choose. He sees the 3rd base. I got to take my own 3rd. You really don't have another option, except once again, it's going to be later than his opponents. And you talked about this on Invader. How much of an impact does that have, being able to get that next up? Like, he's going to be starting it while his opponent's is over halfway done, close to finishing.
It has a little bit of an impact, but the biggest difference is that the tech is kind of the same here, and on Invader they've had very different tech paths. So I think on Invader it was very worrisome for Drogo, and we saw the end result. Right now, obviously I prefer Drogo's position, but this is a pretty damn close game. I don't want to make it bigger than it is. Like, overall, everything has been a tiny bit faster for Drogo. A few more workers, a few more stalkers, a little bit of a quicker natural, quicker 3rd base. But other than that, Nate, it's that even.
All right. So looking at the way that both players are setting up, then we do see NeeB trying to get a little bit more utility out of that Oracle, dropping a stasis ward somewhere on the map. So this will be able to catch anything that kind of runs around here. It's not the most threatening position. If he's looking to attack here later on, then it's a very possibly useful stasis ward in that sense, but I don't see how he's hoping to do harass with this.
And there is an observer on top of the army of Drogo as well, so that could help him. I mean, it's a very quick War Prism there by NeeB. Drogo's making his own War Prism as well. It's really funny to see both these guys just kind of do the exact same thing without having vision of each other. But NeeB stopped building workers a little while ago. He's squeezing out 1 probe here, 1 probe there, but he's not making as many as Drogo anymore.
He's putting a stasis at the entrance of the natural expansion as well. So if he tries to move this army around, he could be waiting, just try to bait him with 1 stasis ward, and then move in for a big harassment play.
Good force fields. So there is an observer, so the observer should spot the stasis.
If he tries to blink across this too, then he could get caught by that. So Drogo's forced to play very passively in this position because of that.
I mean, the biggest thing is that Drogo's army was just out of position, so these force fields were actually super useful. But in the end, NeeB does not decide to pull the trigger.
Yeah, so that stasis ward does get destroyed. Something got caught by the one that was outside the natural,
maybe
it looks like.
Reinforcement Immortal or something?
Yeah, perhaps something along those lines. These Stalkers are going to come push up
good
once
force
again.
Fields.
Locks out most of the Immortals from this fight. The sentries are left behind for Drogo, and NeeB continues to push forward on this army. The Mothership Core is here, but there's only a single pylon within range of this force. Another couple force fields drop, focuses down the Immortal. War Prism is here. NeeB still has one of his Immortals. Micro's back, the second one, and continues to keep this fight going. He also has had Guardian Shell throughout the entirety of this battle at the same time, taking a massive supply lead up 96 versus 72.
I mean, NeeB was working with the exact same units over here. He's fighting against Photon Overcharge. He's fighting against defensive probes as well. And so far, he's just winning. He's dominating this battle. I think NeeB might actually be able to take the Series 3-0 over here. Picks up the War Prism, picks up the Mothership Core. NeeB has played a phenomenal PvP.
GG, NeeB.
Wow.
The Protoss player from New York going up 3-0 against the previous